All right, good afternoon. A bit to get through today. Quite a busy weekend, as many of you will be aware, um, both with us and AFL, so there's a bit to discuss. I need to address the elephant in the room to start with. I got about 10 text messages on Saturday night with links to TikTok. I knew I shouldn't have appointed myself to a A-grade game at Athelston, but anyway, it's come back to haunt me. So for those that have seen it, yeah, I paid a deliberate out of bounds and looked like a bit of a dick when I came in and said I'm the umpire manager. I don't normally say that type of stuff, but I did have about 3 or 4 of the players telling me there was no such thing as deliberate. So I kind of just pointed out that I think I might know, but anyway, quite amusing for those that saw it. And when I was having a look at the comments, I noticed one of my sons had replied. So it was all quite amusing. All right, some milestones for this week. First Division 1 men's game, actually it happened last weekend, but Nathan D'Souza on the boundary, so well done to Nathan. For this week, we've got a couple of umpires doing their 50th game. Marquita, so well done Marquita, great having you as part of the team and a good milestone to make. And Jordan Russell Alden, also a field umpire, well done to you both, and a big 500th game for Jason Mounts. And Mountsy obviously spends a bit of time with the sample these days, but still umpires with us whenever he can, and a legend of Adelaide Footy League umpiring. So well done to Mountsy. All right, let's talk about abandoning a game. And I know Brendan's on the line. Brendan, you want to unmute yourself, mate?
Yes, Cole.
So if you've been living under a rock and you didn't realise, we had a bit of an interesting game on Friday night. Pembroke and Scotch player was reported for hitting a spectator, which we're not going to go into too much here because it's still being worked through and with the pending tribunal, etc. But Brendan umpired the game with one of my twins, Cody. And as well as issuing the player with the red card, they made the decision to abandon the game. So, Brendan, first of all, I just want to thank you for your efforts on Friday night in difficult circumstances. Also for your excellent follow-up afterwards. So they both rang me straight after the game to let me know, which let me notify John Kernahan straight away. So it was really important that he knew what had gone on. It was on the front foot. So obviously the things escalated pretty quickly after that. And then Brendan, at our request, put together a fantastic email which highlighted everything that went on and their concerns. So yeah, just tell us, Brendan, from your perspective and as well as Cody, why you decided then to abandon the game.
Well, at that point, the spectators had been asked to leave the arena, and they actually still hadn't left the arena. There was only one match day official to actually do this, and he was the Scotch match day official. So he was sort of umming and ahhing about whether he should go and talk to these spectators who were Pembroke spectators. I had noticed another spectator come down from the stand and get close to these guys and start having words with them as well. And at the same time, just about all the players, if not all the players, had congregated within this sort of little circle inside the forward 50 arc. And I thought if something goes awry right now, then we're not going to be able to control what goes on. And I thought from a pure safety perspective, and Cody was of a like mind, because at that stage we weren't standing together. I was still helping to make sure the spectators were exiting the ground, and Cody was talking to the players. And we got to put our heads together and said, look, it's not going to affect the result. If we play on, we're 2 minutes into time on in the last quarter. It's 14-14 to 1-5. There's potentially a safety issue here. It's time to call it. And I asked Cody to blow his whistle, and we called time. And there wasn't one player that said, well, that's stupid, you can't do that or anything. I think they were happy to have the game done. Scotch because they were getting flogged, and Pembroke because they didn't know what may happen after that.
Yeah, and I guess without sticking up for the Pembroke matchday official, You mentioned in your report to me that he was multitasking, and so him personally, he just had a lot on his plate, and obviously one of the concerns from the league point of view is how it all set up, and obviously Friday nights can be challenging, which is going to be an issue for the league to look at going forward. So it was just a bad environment all round, really, and yeah, and everyone that at the league, everyone I've spoken to, thinks you did a great job, and so yeah, I guess I wanted Brendan just to share his thoughts on what had happened and why they did what they did. But also, I want to say that the league is fully supportive of what they did. But it doesn't mean that every time you get an issue that we abandon the game. So what they did do was try and resolve it initially and get the matchday officials involved. And I would encourage you all, when you're having issues like that, to see if you can get the game going, and use the resources there from a club, to deal with issues. So yeah, I'm just going to put that in the notes that yeah, while we fully support what happened on Friday night, we don't want to see abandoning games as a regular occurrence. Yeah. Anything else you want to add, Brendan, at all?
I'd just like to, in this forum, thank Cody for his work on the night as well. He's a very capable and chilled young man, and I had enjoyed his company before the game, and I enjoyed his company even though we sat there for probably close to 90 minutes after the game, sort of filling in the digital forms and so forth with the Norwoods officials wanting to close up the ground behind us. So I just appreciate what a young man, and the head he had on his shoulders in the night, and it was excellent that I was doing it with him.
Yeah, no, thanks, mate. I'll pass it on to him, and he usually watches these Zoom, so he'll see that. So yeah, appreciate that. And Brendan has sent me an email just requesting this week he has a women's B grade game just to chill and decompress. I think it's a really smart thing, and I just spoke to Cody before. He's going to do something similar. So for those of you that analyze appointments and go through, see where everyone else is going, I know there's a handful of you do that. Don't think that they've been dropped by any means. It's actually for their own mental welfare, I guess, and just so that they can recharge after what has been a pretty heavy weekend for them both. So yeah, well done again, Brendan. Really appreciate it.
Just one last thing then, Cole. The game I had on Saturday was also a Div 3 A grade, and that was Unley versus Seaton. I think it might have been 3rd V4 or 4 V5. It was a hotly contested game all day. And as I mentioned to you earlier today when we were speaking, there was one guy from Seaton, number 5, who seemed to have the answer for every decision that we made, why we got it incorrect and how it could be corrected and so forth. So in the last quarter, as we ran back through the centre of the ground and Seaton had just kicked a goal to put them up, he had another little go, and I said, well, you seem to have the answers for everything, mate. So what are the lotto numbers for tonight? And he said nothing. He just ran past and everything, and his ruckman had a chuckle. But the siren went a few minutes later, and he came up to me and he said, mate, you got to take 1, 7 and 14 for sure in the lotto. So, and I thought that's a really nice way to finish. It had been a hectic sort of 2 games of football.
Yeah, I love it. Great story. Just a really nice anecdote about local footy and how you can have a bit of fun in the right way. So well done.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to a similarly controversial situation. This one's from the AFL, and I want to touch on the decision that sparked a fair bit of debate in the Collingwood Fremantle game. Matthew Nichols, as many of you will know, was the AFL umpire in charge who paid a free kick against Collingwood for not handing the ball back to him. Now, I'm not here to have a crack at Matt or AFL umpires. What I do want to point out is AFL footy is a totally different game almost to what we're involved with. That the coaches and the players do push everything, and so their umpires and their rules and interpretations are often more technical, and there's a justification for what they do at times. So in this particular example, my initial impression was, why is he paying a free kick for time wasting when time stopped? But if you actually have a think about the situation, and Collingwood are very, very good at dealing with these close games, they use every situation they can to set up how they want to set up. So if they can just delay the umpire getting the game started again, they get to set up as they want. So it might seem pedantic, it might seem technical, which it really is, but I think the umpires are now aware that what Collingwood are trying to do in those scenarios, and the simple rule that they've made known is if you have the ball as a ball up, give it straight back to the umpire, and if you're not going to do that, they'll pay for a kick. So I actually don't have a problem with them cracking down at AFL level on it because of the scenario and the circumstances. However, that doesn't mean we have to umpire in the same way Adelaide Footy League because it is a different scenario. So I actually had the next day in the men's B grade game, a player, similar thing. He handed it back to an opposition player before it handed back to me to ball up. And I just said, mate, did you see the footy last night? I'm not going to pay free kick against you, but you're meant to give it back to me. So you can kind of use AFL scenarios to kind of get your message across. But if we start paying free kicks in those scenarios, it's just not really appropriate. So I sort of thought in the notes that I'll send out, I just wanted to talk about the room for discretion in our footy. It might be black and white at AFL there because they're dealing with those tactics that the clubs and the coaches are implementing. But I would say at ball ups in similar scenarios, you only need to pay a free kick if the player intentionally throws or kicks the ball away. You know, like there's a serious delay there. And similarly, when the ball goes out of bounds, they can put the ball on the ground. They can hand it back to the boundary umpire. But if they kick it away or throw it away in frustration or to deliberately waste time, we do need to pay for a kick. So there's scenarios where you do, but we don't have to be quite as technical at the AFL. Probably the area where we would not have as much room for leniency is the situation set kick control, where the rule is the player must hand the ball back on the full to the player taking the free kick. So in that case, if they give the ball back to the wrong player, if they give it to you as the umpire, if they put the ball on the ground, if they loop it up high in the air, don't hesitate 25. There's less room for leniency in those cases because that's a black and white rule. Ball goes back on the full to the player who's getting the free kick. So there was just some thoughts of mine, some comments, how what happened on Friday night relates to what we do. Does anyone want to discuss or comment on that? All right. Well, it might generate some discussion. Maybe I've covered all your queries. All right. Sorry about the late notice. I let this one slip. But if any of you have Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday free this week, we need 10 umpires both days out at Alberton Oval for the Aboriginal Power Cup, which I know a lot of you really enjoyed doing. So I'm on the lookout for umpires. Any of you that want to umpire either or both days, you're going to get paid $200 per day. They're good days. The Port Adelaide Football Club do that extremely well. So please email me immediately. And yeah, I've got to get that organised tomorrow. So it's check-in at 9 a.m. on both days. Wednesdays 10 till 3 and Thursdays 10 till 2. So yeah, as I said, if you're keen to get involved, please send me an email. This Wednesday night, we've got the monthly catch-up at the Britannia Hotel after training for cheap schnitzels, the Snitty with Smitty night. Hopefully Matt Smith will be there. John Crontrell puts $100 cash door prize up for grabs. So come along and you can win some cash, but also have a nice feed and some good company. Anyway, everyone's welcome. With the coaching notes, I'm going to put out a multi-choice quiz. I did it last year and it was a bit of fun. We're going to do that next Monday night on the Zoom. And I'm just finishing up that quiz. And you can spend all week working out the right answers. And then next Monday night, we'll go through them. All right, that's all I've got from the notes. Before we get on the coaching video, anyone want to raise anything that happened on the weekend? Anything that they want to discuss before we get on to the coaching video?
Hey, Cole.
Yeah, mate.
I just think it's important that everyone should know that in your B grade game this weekend, that you were overruled. It was fantastic to watch.
Do you know what? Actually, I do want to bring that up. I forgot to put that in, so thanks for reminding me. But so I was umpiring with Matt's brother, Adam, and yeah, Matt was there for the A grade games and watching on. So I said to Adam afterwards, I didn't agree with his assessment, but I'm happy he did it. So the scenario was a player was tackled, had the ball, was tackled, swung around, taken to ground. The way I saw it was the player took him to ground with the right duty of care that didn't concern me as a dangerous tackle. But Adam saw it differently. He saw it as swung around and brought the player to ground in a dangerous manner. So what I said to Adam was, yeah, we obviously saw it differently, but in that scenario, the umpire who sees it as a dangerous tackle has precedence over the one that didn't. So in that case, we err on the side of the ball player. Adam came in and paid the free kick. And I was like, that's fine, no worries. And so, yeah, we've talked about this before about the overruling. You overrule in the case of high tackles or a player safety issue. Dangerous tackle is a player safety issue. And so if Adam saw it as dangerous tackle and I didn't, it needs to be paid. So thanks for bringing that up, Matt. I don't have a problem at all. And Ian's just message saying he's a brave man. I will mention to anyone umpiring with me, if you see something that I don't, I'm happy to be overruled. So don't
Your
have a
face, your
problem.
face didn't say you were happy with it
What's that?
though. Your face didn't say you were happy.
I was initially just trying to work out what was going on. So yeah, I looked around and the whistle was obviously a fair way away, and yeah, I was just,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but no, honestly, no, I did not take offense to it at all. Anyone else? All right. Let's get moving with the coaching video. Let's pick on Paul Smitherin. Do you want to unmute yourself?
G'day, Cole.
Hey, mate. Have you had a chance to look at the video yet?
Yeah, I had a quick look.
Good. You can do the first one. Now let's bring it up. All right. Tell us what you think of the first decision.
James Ryan. So Ryan, perhaps too far at the score, but he's going to have a ping on the right boot. It's coming back nicely, and it might be a free path to disposal. The ball actually went through for a behind, so it's going to come down, and it's going to be a free kick on the goal line for Plimpton, or at the top of the goal screw at least, and almost certainly they.
All right. What do you reckon happened there?
Yeah, so in that instance, Cole, it was obviously a free after disposal. So you'd need to go over to the Plimpton, and it's obviously gone through for a point. So you'd need to go over to the Plimpton player to ask him if he'd want that to be a point or if he'd want to have another set shot at goal. And obviously, in most instances, the player wants a set shot at goal. So you'd take that back and allow them to have that set shot at goal. So it'd be no point.
Yeah, and the kick taken from?
Yeah, where the incident happened.
Yeah, spot on. So Emmanuel being fairly new to umpiring, got a little bit confused there and ended up paying a free kick on the line, and no one had a clue what was going on. Well, actually, sorry, no one had a problem with it. They just went with it. Yeah, but obviously in reviewing the tape, I was able to point out the error to him. All right, well done. That's why you did one umpire, mate. Well done. Brian Curtis, did you want to unmute yourself?
Yep,
All right. Have you had a chance to have a look?
I have, yes.
Beauty. All right. Tell us what you think in the second example.
It again. This time it's Tegan Usher. Their defence has been magnificent. Smosh all day. Russell takes it off hands. Can't quite get the kick forward, smothered.
All right. What are your thoughts on that one?
So the first off, the player come in and stood next to the player standing the mark, which allowed a player to play on. So I would have brought that back and, yeah, reset the kick again.
100%. So well done. I was wondering if you were going to focus on that or the bit afterwards, but that's the point of that one. You can't shepherd on the mark. So yes, you would bring the ball back and reset it and tell them to have another kick again. You can't shepherd it on the person on the mark. I was about to say man on the mark, but the player on the mark.
Yep.
Yes. Well done. Good job. All right, Bo. Unmute yourself. The man.
Hey, mate, how you going?
Yeah, good. The man that carried me on Saturday. Thank you very much. I'm still recovering. Drop myself back to B grade this week. But yeah, thank you for your support. All right. Have you had a chance to have a look at it, mate?
I'm literally looking at it right now on my phone. So.
All right. Well, see what you can come up with here. All right. Any idea what we're looking at there?
Yeah, so there's actually a few things going on, especially at the start there. I'm going to assume that the umpire probably thought that ball might have fell out before she was tackled. It's a bit hard to tell in the video. So I'm going to assume that just fell out when she was tackled. But
all right,
if that was the case, then you're probably paying.
It's hard if you haven't watched it, and so you're watching it on your phone.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for here is actually is actually before that all occurs.
Oh, so just the mark, or
yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about? Or?
Right. Watch. Yeah. So it's a set kick here. All right. She's taking.
Okay. Yeah.
Watching here.
Well, the fact that she ran through the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I'll probably just tell her to go back, take a kick again.
Correct. Yeah. So you can't have a teammate run through the mark like that and collect the ball. So you can't call play on in that scenario. And you want to bring the ball back and reset it. All good. The rest of it, yes, there was a bit happening. I didn't really have too much of a problem with the play on after that. Perhaps you could play a dangerous tackle there or throw on the ground, but I didn't think there was too much in all the rest of it. But yeah, it was the running through the mark that would have liked to pull back. All right, let's roll through the rest of the examples. So the topic is pay the first free. Most free kicks go to the ball player. Always want to keep in your mind, can you see their head and shoulders? If you can't see the head and shoulders, you need to move so you can. In this case here, the player coming front on collects the player high. The tackling player needed to get side on rather than front on to avoid getting a free kick against them. Area inside the ball player, good free kick there from our 500 gamer Mouncy in that case. In this one here, it's quite an obvious high tackle. Arm over the shoulder. Players bending down to pick the ball up. Need to be on an angle to see those free kicks. Keep your distance, important 20-25 meters away, and react to the obvious. Don't go looking for free kicks. They'll stick out when they are there. In this case here, Matt's in a really good position, lands on top of him. So in the back free kick is rightfully paid. The key in most of these scenarios is good positioning, and it's a good example of the umpire being in the right decision to see that. So lands throwing the ball up, backing out quickly, getting distance between himself and the ball up. Again, player lands in his back, black and white, pushing the back free kick. If they want to play footy, let them. So again, we don't go looking for free kicks. If they're focused on the footy and there's nothing obvious and blatant, we let it go. They throw their hands up like happens here.
can't do it again. But he
Ball's built free. He's looking for a free kick. The tackler lets go at the right time. Nothing wrong with that. Good umpire just to let it go.
Pembroke defence. Evander Hoke
Don't
trying to
need to
pick
be
it up.
too technical. The scenario here, another good example of a play on call. There's no obvious hold there. Players were able to get the ball free. Good umpire just let it go. High tackles are the most important free to play. You see, protecting the player's head is a big focus for footy at all levels these days. In this case here, it's entirely unintentional, but it clearly got him high. If we don't pay it, then players get pretty shitty.
To get it in deeper. It's a
Good
line.
example here of Dale
Forward, centre half forward.
keeping on the move,
Kick off the side.
keeping able to see that high tackle because he's not standing still and he's not getting players in the way and able to see that hand over the shoulder. You want to pay the obvious and blatant free kicks. You want to let it go where you can, but yeah, when they're obvious and blatant free kicks, there you need to pay them. So in this case here, it's just an obvious sling or hold without the ball. In this case here, the ball comes free, and then the tackle continues. Clearly doesn't have the ball, and I think it's Aaron that comes in and pays the free kick.
No, it's going to be a Fitzroy free.
And the player safety is a priority. So you want to be on the lookout for things like these ones. I think it's the contact below the knees free kick. Can be difficult to pick up. But yeah, has gone to ground, taken the legs out. And well picked up by Joel. Want the players to keep their feet, but if they go to ground, take the legs out, then you want to penalise. This one here is a dangerous tackle, and I think the tolerance for dangerous tackle is certainly less tolerance these days, and we probably want a card on that one these days. He does get up, but it's quite a serious sling to ground. That's a couple of years ago where a free kick was probably just okay, but yeah, we've seen players suspended for similar tackles, so a yellow or red card would have been appropriate there. So stay focused and work hard, all going to ensure good decision making. Any questions, comments on any of that? All right. We've got 1 week to go before the bye round. So Saturday week there are no games. Nice to have a bit of a breather mid-season. We're due for some bad weather, so we haven't had any of that. Been very lucky till now, but it's getting cold, that's for sure. So really important we finished the first half of the year in a strong way. Focus, go out and get the job done this Saturday. Well done for your efforts so far. It's been really pleasing. We always have a few issues along the way, but overall the standard's been extremely good. So yeah, as I said, let's finish this Saturday and concentrate on getting through this week, and then we can have a bit of a breather before we start our run into finals. All right, thanks guys. Appreciate your time tonight, and send us an email if you want to do the Power Cup, and we'll look forward to having a snip to on Wednesday night.